By now you know that CX stands for customer experience, but it sounds so buzzwordy. What is it? Can just anyone do it? And why is it important? According to one definition, it's this. Can't argue with that, but what does it look like? We're glad you asked. Experience design is made up of multiple design disciplines that build on each other in an iterative process. Done well, it's intended to answer 4 foundational questions. Why do our customers choose us? More importantly, why don't they choose us based on the experiences we deliver? Who delivers the experience? Who receives it? And how do they interact? How are our experiences delivered? Using what tools? Each of these questions require design thinking, but as we like to say, you can't read the label from inside the jar. So consider enlisting experienced designers to come alongside you on this journey. The question of why requires reflection and the discipline of strategic design. Spend time framing the problem you're actually addressing so that it's broad enough to allow interpretation, yet narrow enough to be specific. One of our favorite framing questions is, how do people get lost here? With that as your catalyst, a needs assessment outlines all the ways that people get lost. But you need a roadmap in order to move forward with quick wins, medium and long-term changes. Of course, this takes buy-in from those who fund this kind of work. Clarifying the need, scope, costs, and benefits can be a design challenge in itself. Once approved, regular communication will help everyone understand their part in the process and track progress toward goals. Now on to who, which requires evaluation and the discipline of service design. We look first at quantitative research, customer feedback, employee engagement surveys, social media buzz, whatever gives us a broad picture to create a baseline. We add qualitative interviews to this, learning firsthand from those that deliver the experience and those that receive it. Where are the gaps? What don't users understand? How could this be better? Sometimes it's helpful to capture this information in narrative form with personas, stories of typical staff and customer challenges, needs, and what makes for an optimal experience. Next, we enlist as many people as possible to help us understand the process and information supplied at each step in the customer journey. From there, we build a journey map that visually describes the process for the personas we've established and identifies potential areas for improvement. Using those same voices and including even more, we move on to how. By observing the behaviors of staff who deliver the experience and the customers themselves, we drive to the core benefit of human-centered design. Because there's a difference between figuring out how to do something and figuring out what you should do. This leads to creative ideation, then low-cost, low-resolution prototyping. This can be of an artifact, say maybe a test route for signage, or a process such as new training for campus security. We test it with the audiences in question, observe and hear feedback, then iterate as we get closer to selecting those solutions that solve a part of the problem. Doing this assures that we'll invest wisely in the what as we move into communication design. This is where big dollars can be spent. Think of a new mobile app. So we want to be clear on the users and their needs before we design, specify, and build these tools. Of course, your brand narrative and standards will infuse the tools, but we also need to be sure that a shared, consistent terminology underlies all of the artifacts that support communication. Whether verbal, digital, printed, or in the built environment, thoughtful design will help you say less so that your customers understand more. Once launched, you teach staff how to use the tools, then evaluate their effectiveness over time. And sure as the sun rises, you're back to the why. This process will give your customers more reasons to choose you and your staff better tools to deliver the experience. And here's the proof from 2 of our healthcare clients. Experience design assures that the process is aligned with organizational priorities, includes diverse voices from both inside and out, immerses users and designers in developing targeted solutions, and encourages investments based in evidence, not just the latest shiny object. So now you know how experience design works. The question we have for you is, when do we get started?